Hello and welcome to St Michael's Hill for the January update from the layout. There's been quite a lot going on this month, but actually relatively little has been done in the garage. Been testing a few more things, hot pieces of track, and generally just smoothing out the running of things. As you can see at the moment, there's class 56 that's running through the fiddle yard and out onto the branch, as well as the regional railways class 158 DMU from Bachmann that's using the up main line. We've got a steel train waiting on the up branch, waiting for a clear signal, but other than that, that's kind of what's going on. There's not been really any changes that have gone on in here other than, like I said, minor track amendments and smoothing out of things. There are a few additions to the layout that I'll run you through whilst I'm down here, and then I'll take you upstairs to the workbench where quite a lot's been going on in terms of stock alterations and a few other kits that have been built. There's a few items of new stock that have come to the layout in the last month. I was lucky enough to get a few vouchers for Christmas, and I've used those on a few bits. First up is this tip hook rail KIB wagon. These are covered coil wagons, so there'll be steel coils with inside. In fact, these are models, and you can open the hood if you want to. It's not a bad wagon. It's from Dapol, not quite to the same level of detail as the Cavaldex BBAs and BLAs, and I'm sure the forthcoming Acura Scale JSA, which I've got a few of pre-ordered, but they were a wagon that certainly ran around the time period that I'm modelling, and it would be very rare for this not to be around, so I thought I'd pick one up to include on kind of covered steel rakes and things like that. The only other new arrival this month is the Class 47 you see in front of me. It's a Bachmann Class 47 209 Herbert Austin. It's going to go through a bit of a change in appearance, and I'll talk you through a little bit of that later on in the video. It's, as you can see, in rail freight distribution livery. This is a brand new model. I've managed to find a stockist that has quite a few brand new models, but ones that are maybe discontinued, so I've managed to get this in a brand new condition. It's got all the fittings and extra detailing parts and all that sort of stuff, so they'll be made good use of. I'll talk to you a little bit later in the video about what this is going to become and the work that needs to be done to achieve that. As mentioned in the last update, I've done some more work on trees this month. There's another one that's completed at the back, which featured in a tutorial I did around that, so if you want to watch that, click on the eye icon right now. There's quite a few more on the way, so hopefully over the next weeks or months these will fill out and they'll have enough trees for when the scenic section is being all laid. First project I'll be looking at this month is the Bachmann 150 in regional railways livery. It's a decent model. There are limitations. This is one of the older ones which has quite a large motor, and as such the body shell's got blacked out windows, so you kind of can't see in, which is you know, it's what it is. It's a fairly decent representation of the model and of the prototype, but there are some changes that I wanted to make. Firstly, adding a driver, so I've done that, as you can see. It's a Model U figure that's been painted up and popped in there. That will look fairly nice. The other details that I've been working on are some of the branding. So I'm going to be renumbering this one. It was at 150-270. I think it's being renumbered as 150-247. 247, for some reason, only had one set of regional railways insignia that are on the body shell on each side of the two-car unit. So it's been removed from one side. So this front end here had the regional railways insignia on it, so that has been removed. To do that, I just very gently used fiberglass pencil, and it seemed to come off no problems at all. There's a bit of a sheen in some lights, you might be able to just pick it out there. Once I've kind of gone over that with a little bit of varnish, it should disappear without too much problem at all. I'm going to be renumbering the unit as well, so I've removed the last 2 digits there, and we'll be replacing those potentially in full, but I didn't want to remove everything if I wasn't going to. The other thing that I really wanted to change was the blinds for the destination. These were glued in but kind of removable, so this was either Leeds or Crewe, I think, were the 2 that were on it. Totally not suitable for my layout, so I again used the fiberglass pencil to remove the text. I will try and get a decal or some sort of destination to go on there. If I can't find one that will fit, then I'll pop it back in blank, and to be honest, blank is far better than having Crewe or York on the South Wales layout. Other than that, the only thing I'll be doing was weathering these. Generally, they are fairly clean. They're passenger service units. However, around the vestibule in this area, got quite grubby from the pictures that I've seen, so I'll kind of replicate that at some point. Right now, the majority of the work is about kind of just getting things ready for when it's a bit warmer. I can get the airbrush out. The only other thing that I did was fitted it with a 21-pin decoder. This is a Zimo decoder, the MX638D, which is a nice kind of budget decoder for your 21-pin socket locos and units. So this will probably go back together fairly soon, and then it'll be being seen on the layout. The only other things I did do actually was glue the obstacle deflectors and the coupling in place. One of the couplings has gone missing, so I'll either have to grab a spare one for that or find it at some point. For some reason, I don't know if it's just on my model or it's fairly common, they were falling out all the time, which is why I've just used the dab of super glue to hold them in. Next up is this Class 37 from V-Trains or Vi-Trains. Made a start on this one this month. I'm going to do a full video on this model, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But as you can see, I've added a etched fan grille. The fan has also been replaced, so I've built an etched version of that. That's just being primed at the moment. Also removed the numbering that was on the front, just about here. And also the name that's kind of come off. It's a little bit disappointed to find that the yellow paint didn't actually go all the way under the nameplate, so I'm going to need to respray that anyway. It won't be too much of a problem. It'll certainly need a bit of a touch up, but this will be done when I come to repaint it. It will be staying the same livery, but a very faded version, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem to cover up. I've also added the radiator frost grills. These weren't too common around the time I was modelling, so it's quite nice to kind of pick the prototype based on the fact that it had these. They are a Shoreplan extreme etchings part, the same as the roof grille. They've gone on quite easily, which looks fairly good, I think. The last thing that I've had to do on this Loco is to change the cantrail stripe a little bit. On the model, it came all the way down the rib of the windscreen. That has been removed as well, so just as per the prototype, ran across the cantrail and also along the top of the nose under the windscreen. Blue stars for multiple working have also been removed, as the prototype Loco did not have these in the period that I'm modelling. There's a fair bit still to be done with this. I do really need to remove the headlight. That should be a lot lower, about halfway between the headcode box and the panel at the bottom here, so at some point I'll need to remove that, fill it, and then replace it with a new one, but that will be featured in the video that focuses solely on this Loco. So earlier in the video, we saw the new arrival of the Class 47 from Bachmann. It's going to become 47197, which has slightly different ends to the Bachmann model. One end is effectively the same, it just needs some black paint around the head code panel, but that's a fairly easy change. The other one, the Loco was damaged and it was repaired with a flush end, and I'm going to try and model that. So I've taken the body shell of an old Helgen model that Will Perkins has sent over, and I've just used some Miniput filler to try and get that kind of filled. It's looking okay. It's taking various kind of levels of sanding and priming, but I'm getting close to something that I'm happy with. It feels smooth to the touch, but when you prime it, it can show up any kind of imperfections. So this has gone through about 2 or 3 rounds of filling and priming, so we'll get there eventually. But once I'm happy with how it's going to look, I'll be able to take on the Bachmann model in a kind of the knowledge that it should be okay. I'm also going to be adding some fans and grills, as I've done with the 37. I'm also going to be adding some cab steps out of photo etch as well, so that'll be the plan with that one. And then it's going to be weathered and faded a little bit, and hopefully that'll be a nice looking Loco once it's done. After working with the photo etch on the Class 37, I really enjoyed it and decided to invest in a photo etch bending tool. I went for the Hold and Fold 5, and then thought I'd give a go to the Loco platform and the ladder that I bought from 10 Commandments a good while ago. I remember at the beginning of the first lockdown, I asked if anyone wanted me to kind of have a go at certain projects, and this was one of them that didn't win the vote, but I had a look anyway and realised that it looked very complicated, but decided to give it a go this month, and I'm actually very pleased with the results. It's now at the stage where it's been constructed and primed. It just needs a top coat of paint. I think if I was right in thinking that most of these were red, so I'll just give it an all over red, but there's some really nice detail in there. If you look quite closely, you can see at the bottom there the trolley wheels, which is a very nice touch, and generally it's a very nice bit of kit. So it also comes with a step ladder, or a ladder of some description. I decided to kind of bash it a little bit and add a couple of little bars across the back and make it look like a little step ladder. So very pleased with how that's turned out as well. So I've really enjoyed this etch stuff. I've used super glue to put this together instead of soldering, which is an option. I'm probably going to get some slightly simpler kits to try soldering together, so keep an eye out for that over the next few weeks and months. I might well end up getting a couple of little buildings to put together with some solder and some brass. The final thing I've been working on over this month away from the garage is the Mark III stock that I've got. Excuse the one on the right, which is going through kind of a larger improvement, so the roof and the glazing are all off, but I'm focusing mainly on the bogies and the coupling at the moment. The one at the back is one of the latest Hornby ones, which has an NEM pocket fitted as standard, and I've put in a Hunt coupling Elite. The one on the right is a Lima tooling, which has a very large D-style coupling. I've been working on how to get these up in standard a little bit, both of detail and also trying to get the Lima one fitted with some sort of Hunt coupling, or at least a pocket to allow an NEM coupling of some sort. I've been speaking with a company on Facebook called Midland Valenta 3D Prints, and they do some really cool stuff. They've done detailing for the Lima HST, and they've also recently released a detailing pack for the Lima Class 156, which makes a dramatic difference to what is a pretty basic model. Various systems have been kind of experimented with, and I've just sent over a couple of products to kind of test out for him, and I'll show you the results of them now. There we can see the ladder detailing, the kind of orange sockets that you can see there, and also some pipe work have been added. For the Lima one, I've also added a NEM socket. These are done using 3D printed parts, little various units. This one's halfway through being painted, but you can see that two pieces have created a socket between the two wires there that can take an NEM pocket. These ones have been designed for the hunt system for the old Hornby clip ones that have got this little hole in, so that's how it works, so that they can take those, which is perfectly suitable for me. The ones for the newer Hornby ones are a little bit more simple. They just have a section that slides over the top of the bar that leads to the coupling point. And these can be either glued in place or just fit like however you want, really. So they're very nice. There are some kind of downsides, but they're not really no real way around this. Oxford have added similar detailing to their coaches, but as far as I'm aware, the coupling is fitted to the body of the coach rather than the bogie. So these are fitted to the bogie, which means that they swing out, which doesn't look the best, but at the same time, it doesn't look great when they do it normally with the bogie. So if you're running tight curves, there's no real way to get these points dangling down, as the coupling would foul them. So it's kind of, you take your choice without doing some major modification. It's really not going to be another way around. As I said, these kind of adapters are currently in development, but hopefully will be available to buy soon from the Midland Valenta 3D printing pages. I'll link in the description below. This hasn't been in any way sponsored or paid for. However, I obviously received the free parts to try out. The only other thing I've done is added disc brakes to the coach. I've used the Stenson Models 10mm diameter disc brakes, and they've gone in very easily. Just a case of removing the wheel set, popping it in with a little bit of glue, and away you go. As a comparison to what they looked like before, you can see there's obviously just no detail there. So it's a nice way to add a little bit more kind of detail and finish off the coach. So that's pretty much it from the layout. Thank you for joining me this month, and I'll certainly be back in the next month with an update where hopefully there'll be a lot more going on in terms of track work down here. It's been quite nice to be in the warm for a month, but I'm quite itching to get down here and make some more additions to the layout. So I've ordered signals. They should be here probably not next month, so a little while to wait on those, but I'm certainly going to be progressing, certainly with the automation side of things. There's lots of kind of detailed work like measuring blocks and all that sort of stuff that needs to be done, but hopefully that will allow for some automated running, which will be interesting to show you next month if possible. Like I said, thank you very much for joining me on St Michael's Hill, and I'll see you again soon. Thank you, bye bye.